Mike Hastings. Mike, your thoughts on the series of St. Cloud, and then with Bowling Green coming to Mankato this weekend, we kick off the CCHA season.
Good series against St. Cloud. Made us better. Challenged in a lot of different ways. I thought we played at times very good hockey. Stressed them out a little bit. They did the same thing to us. We've got to find a way, I think, if we want to be successful on the road, to not be playing from behind consistently or as consistently as we have up until this point. And thought it was a really good series. Congratulate St. Cloud on the sweep, and now we're just focused on a very determined, well-rested Bowling Green team that's going to be coming in here excited to play us.
Thanks for that, Mike. We have Kevin Dudley of the Free Press here, and a couple people on Zoom. We'll begin with questions from Kevin.
Just the week in practice, how guys have looked, if responded from the sweep. Have you been happy with the way that it's looked so far here this week with the way guys have practiced?
Yeah, we had took some time on Monday and just, it's our first block of 6 games. So 3 weeks, and just did individual meetings with all the guys on Monday. We went with a split squad practice and just wanted to get their perspective, give them my perspective on really hear what they're thinking on what they think of their first 6 games, if they played all 6, the guys that were in and out of the lineup, make sure they're doing all right. Really just communicate and get each other's stories on how things are going. Then reset on Tuesday, and I think Tuesday and Wednesday have been good. They've been really good work days. Guys have come with great attitude. Know they're disappointed in being swept, and now we're just turning the page and controlling what we get to control, which is our dailies. And the guys' dailies this week have been very good.
Carson Bulow, followed by Don Westfall.
Coach, you've obviously gotten some experience playing these first 3 top 10 opponents over the last several years, but now how does your mindset sort of change now as you switch into playing conference opponents a lot more regularly?
Well, I'm hoping the first 6 has prepared us for the grind that we're going to go through in our league. If you look at the history of our series with Bowling Green over the amount of time that we've been in a league together, whether it was the old WCHA or the new CCHA, they've been absolute battles. Very seldomly have we gone on the road to Bowling Green or at home at the end of that series started with the same amount of players that coming the following Monday than we did going in on Friday, and it's because it's a physical battle. And more often than not, each team gets a piece of each other. There's been a lot of splits between us over the years, and I've got a lot of respect for Ty and what he does and how their staff prepares their team, and they're going to be hungry, but just like we are. The last time they played, they didn't like the outcome. We didn't like our outcome. So I think you're going to see 2 very hungry teams going at it.
Don Westfall.
Coach, you kind of mentioned the being on the road and not getting behind, but if you could identify maybe over the first 3 weekends, 2 or 3 positive trends you've seen from your team early in the season, and maybe a couple of things that need a little more direction and refocus.
Yeah, thanks. I would say positively, we've had some guys that maybe previously are playing roles and being successful in the roles that they're playing more so than they had previously. And a couple of guys I'll bring up right away are Sam Morton and David Cillier. They've been probably two of our most consistent forwards. Both are logging a lot of minutes, and what I mean by that, top 6 minutes, power play, penalty kill. Sam's a little bit more heavily relied upon in the power play. David's doing both, and I've liked where their games have gone and gotten to. I think you're seeing 2 players that we knew we were going to have to rely upon in Akito Hiroshi and Jake Livingstone. They've played very well. They're looking at trying to shore up the back end on the defensive side of the puck, but they've been very effective on the offensive side. Our power play has showed itself well at times, and we're going to have to make sure that our penalty kills dialed, because the last time that Bowling Green came into our building, they had a lot of success on the power play. So those are a couple of the positives when you talk about individuals. Those four, I think, have started very, very well for us. And some things that I'm a little concerned about, or at least we're trying to address, is just trying to get some other guys going. You know, whether that's Brendan Furry, Cordy Borchardt, guys that, over the 3 year career here have been very productive. I think they're gripping it a little bit. So they've gone back to work, looked in the mirror. Like I said, had really good meetings with them. And we're going to need those guys to contribute. We're going to need our young guys to step up. Psychos and Wheeler, I think, have done a really good job up until this point. And then I think we're going to have to get a little bit better number between the posts. And what I mean by that is, I've always looked at, if you're going to be successful as a team, you've got to get around that 910, 915, 920 save percentage if you're going to be able to win consistently. And so we've got to do a better job of managing the puck and not having it go from our stick to their stick to the back of the net. So those are some things both on the positives and negatives.
I'll ask about Austin Swankler for Bowling Green. Do you think he's got a chance to be one of the best forwards in your league? In your league this year, it seems like he's off to a really good start.
Yeah, really good hockey player, talented. If you give him time and space, he can do a lot of damage. He's somebody that when you watch players that you have respect for as far as how they play, he demands the puck. He doesn't want it. He's like, give it to me. He'll go to the areas to be able to go get it. So we're gonna have to be aware of him. But they've got a veteran-laden team. I think they've got 5 super seniors, some guys that have been around the block, guys that decided to come back, and they wanted to come back for a reason, and I'm sure it was to compete for a championship and try and get them to the NCAA tournament.
Sure, yeah. You kind of alluded to this already, but Bowling Green, it seems like there is a rivalry developing there in terms of, I know you got rivalries with all your conference opponents, but is this one where you kind of circle that, this is a really fun rivalry you have in conference?
Well, I think when you speak about rivalry, I think you're right on the head of the nail, and the only way you have a rival is if they win, you win, and it's a battle, and that's what it's been historically with Bowling Green. And I've said this through our 6 games, hopefully we're better because of who we've played and what they've exposed as far as some of our weaknesses. And Bowling Green's going to do the same thing. They're going to come in here and they're going to be physical right out of the gate, and they're going to test us. And yeah, I think I've just got a lot of respect for Ty and just the way that team plays, because you're going to get their best.
One more, Kevin?
Yeah, one more. Just any injury updates you might have, guys that have been out, Bennett Smolik, Simon Tassi, any progress you could maybe give on those guys, if any?
Both those guys are still out. And Tassi, because of the knee injury that he suffered at the end of last year in the playoffs in the BC League, I don't think he'll be available prior to the second half of the season. And so his recovery, his rehab, that's all going really well, better than expected. And so hopefully that can stay in process, and Bennett's being reevaluated every week, and we'll probably have a little bit more on that for you next week.
All right. Any other questions from anybody on Zoom? All right. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.